dark like that. Okay, go.
Hey everybody, it's Wendy and I am here in Texas. And I am so excited to introduce you to my mom.
Hello, everybody.
This is Jackie, and she is the lovely lady that brought me into this world and allowed us to be, my sister and I, to be on Little House on the Prairie. So we are going to have lots of questions for her today. And thanks so much for all of you that are starting to jump on. So we're in Texas, and my mom lives right on a beautiful lake, and so the kids are already out of the lake right now, and we're here being faithful to our 1 o'clock.
Well, and we have the house to ourselves.
We do. So one of the projects that we are doing this week is making wagons for Walnut Grove. These are the little, if you haven't seen them, these are my little magnets, and then also they are little Christmas ornaments.
Little ornaments.
So we're making another batch of these because I'm all out. So we're trying to make enough for Walnut Grove. So we started working on this yesterday, and we went and bought our PVC from Lowe's, and then we came home and we started cutting them.
You have to slice it to make it look like the wagon. However, as anybody who does home projects know, you depending on your equipment, and the bandsaw broke.
The
blade broke, yeah.
So we're at a standstill now.
But we have enough to show you. So this is what the second step looks like, like that.
Yeah, so we're working on this. We've got little wheels here, the little tiny little wheels.
Little bases.
And then we've got the little hooks. You can't even see them, they're so tiny. For the thing, so what I'm going to do is we're going to show you just a couple steps, and then we're going to move on to the next thing.
Don't try this at home.
No, don't do this at home. So I'm going to drill a hole in the top of this guy so I can put a thing in it. So we're going to do that. Oh, I'm left-handed. Let me do this right-handed. I'm going to get you in the face, Mom.
Meanwhile, I'm going to glue the last wheels on this one, then this one will be done.
Okay, so I got a little hole in here. And this is like cooking, but not cooking. So we're not cooking today. We're making wagons. Anyway, so I'm screwing my little
there's the other wheels.
thing. Oh, you just put the wheels on? You're so fast.
Well, I'm going to put a base on too.
Okay, and I'm screwing in my little hanger here for this ornament. So there's my little hanger. So just one little thing at a time, and there was a million little steps
and
here.
There's the base. After you get it all prepped, it's easy. Then it's like a
assembly line.
Yeah, assembly line. So
we might have the kids helping us with this later. I'm not sure, but yeah. So there we go. So that's going to be, the wagons are going to turn out like those.
And one thing I love is you can take the magnet one and you can put a bandana through it, and you can wear it as like a little choker. I think that's really
yes. Cool. Mom likes the chokers.
Yes.
So anyway.
That's that.
That's what we've been doing. So that's super fun. And if you want a wagon, make sure you go to the gift shop in Walnut Grove. They will have them there. And we can sign the wagon, whatever you want. Or not, whatever you want. What else?
Yeah,
Nothing else? That's good?
That's good. I think we've got them. That was easy, huh?
Well, just to make that
a lot easier than yesterday's project.
We got a lot more to do, but that's okay.
Yes, we do. Okay.
So this week we are talking all about Alison Arngrim, and she played the role of Nellie Olsen on Little House on the Prairie, the meanest girl on the prairie, but the nicest person you could ever hang out with. I love Alison. She's been more supportive than anybody else.
Except for me.
Except for my family, of course. But she's been so supportive, and just, I don't know, I get a little choked up even thinking about how she's come alongside me and given me advice, and just kind of encouraging me to go after it. And I'm going to read, I know I have not shown the book to you. Other people have, but I haven't. So this is my advanced copy, and I'm going to read, just in the acknowledgments, there is a little section about the cast, and so I'm going to read it for you. It says, "For the cast of Little House, you are my friends and my family. A special thank you to Alison Arngrim, Nellie Olsen, for supporting me in this project and daring me to dream big." And she has done just that. So I just want to say thank you to Alison and for all of her support, and just love her, and can't wait to hang out in Walnut Grove. She is a hoot. She is a sweet, sweet friend, and I'm going to ask my mom a little bit about Alison. So, what was Alison like on the set? Because I don't remember, of course.
Well, I don't know if Alison, if you're watching this, but I thought you were a little strange, okay? You dressed very hip, like in the hippie days, because that was in the 70s. She could have probably had a really cool sports car because she was like 16 when you guys started. But she had an old truck, Ford Ranchero was her truck. And at times, she would bring her snake to work with her. Now, it's just this own little snake. It was either like a python or boa constrictor. I mean, it's like this big. And she was just kind of weird.
So do you think she did it to get people, like to think, oh my goodness, like, well, I don't, for shock, because Alison does some things for shock value, right?
She was definitely an individual. She was definitely her own person. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of a little crazy on the set, as well as Catherine, who played her mother, Mrs. Olsen. Most of the time that the girls' work was in the Ingalls family, with Ma, Pa, in church, around the table, getting tucked in bed. And so there weren't a lot of scenes that they worked together. But in my wildest dreams, I would have never imagined that at this point in Wendy's life, that her and Alison are like buddies. And it's so cool what happens and how God orchestrates things, friendships that we could never imagine, including this book.
Yeah. Okay, so what about, after the show was long over, what about meeting Alison for the first time? Tell them this story.
Okay, I met Alison for the first time. We happened to sit next to each other on the plane to Tombstone, where they had one of the reunions. And
the very first reunion that we'd ever been to.
This is really the big reunion that you went to. And I was next to her on the plane, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm next to Nellie, And I was kind of excited and a little nervous. And so she's snacking on this snack, and we're getting ready to take off. So she says, oh, would you like a wasabi pea? And I didn't know what a wasabi pea was. So I went, oh, sure, thank you. So I take a handful of these things, I pop them in my mouth, and all of a sudden it's like dragon. It was so hot, and we were taking off, and I couldn't get a drink, and I was just trying to be really nice and talk, and oh, thank you. And I was dying. But anyway, but she's
Alison's like that. She will offer anybody anything. She's just funny. Some people would think that she'd be really intimidating and somebody that you couldn't, like, I don't know. And it's like, oh, I'm eating something, you want some? Like, she's just like that. She's just so down to earth and easygoing, and she's definitely her own person, and she is not afraid to be who she is. And I love that about Alison. She is, if somebody doesn't like what she is, she doesn't care. This is who I am, and if you don't like it, fine. And that's good, because I think we could all be like that a little bit more, not care about what people think about us. So,
well, I think it was funny that Alison and Wendy were talking that maybe they should go on the road together. And Alison could do her book, talk of Little Bitch on the Prairie. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I just did. And Wendy could do her devotional. And what a pair they'd make on the road. You'd get everybody. You get both sides.
I don't know about that, but it's okay. Okay, so we are very, very excited to, my mom and my stepdad Kurt are also coming to Walnut Grove. So she's going to be there too. But we're so excited to be in Walnut Grove and just to be alongside Alison there at the reunion. Alison, of course, will have her candles and her book for sale and photographs and all that. So anyway, that's our shout out for Alison today. But now I'm going to do an interview. We took questions from you all. Y'all, can I say that?
Y'all, yeah.
I'm in Texas, so I guess I can say that. Questions that you had for her about, me being on the set and all that. So we might not hit every question that you guys asked, but we're really trying to hit as many as we can and kind of combine them. So the first one was from Carrie and Jennifer. Kind of you each asked this question in a different way, but what was it like being the mom of twins?
Well, it was a lot of work. I also had their older sisters 16 and a half months older than them, so it was almost like I had triplets at times. And sometimes they treated them like triplets. It was easier that way, like assembly line babies, you know.
Like the wagons.
Yeah. One thing, if any of you have twins, I would say that one thing, you have to stay organized and kind of try to live a simple life, not too much stuff going on. I should say that because I was taking you to the studio, but I think I really taught my kids to be independent and do things on their own. You know, hold your bottle, sit up, you know, walk, make your own sandwiches. And
she didn't baby us.
No, I didn't. Well, I couldn't. I needed them to be self-sufficient, and they played together, so they were a built-in playmate. So that's a real big plus. We put them in those Johnny jump ups, and they reach in a Johnny jump up across the hall from each other, and they hold hands and jump up and down in the Johnny jump ups. So it's so sweet. Another thing, I think I don't know if I should say the word train, but I think I trained them to be obedient. And so it's like, come here. Oh, wait, let's try that again. Let's do a do-over. Come here. And I trained them, you know, to be obedient. And I think that when they were on the show, then they did somewhat follow directions. When they say, okay, we're going to sit here. I need you to hold my hand and walk here. And you're going to sit on my lap and we're going to rock, or whatever the baby would do. I think that they kind of learned, okay, I listen and I follow directions. So that's a big thing, to have kids follow directions.
Okay, the next one is, did you ever get us mixed up?
No, not in person. Sometimes in pictures. Actually, when you got older, like high school, in junior high, they kind of looked a lot alike. So sometimes in pictures I would. But no, Wendy had a little thinner face. And this is with identical twins. There's always one, a little thinner face, a little fuller face, a little different look. But will you guys say Wendy has a Brenda side of her face and Brenda has a Wendy side of her face? So if they're looking in the mirror and looking back, one time one of them was looking in the mirror, like checking the back of her hair, and she scared herself. She goes, oh my gosh, what's Brenda doing here? Or what's Wendy doing here? I don't know which one.
Yeah, it was like the profile. It was like thinking that Brenda was right behind me. And I'm thinking, what's going on? You know, so that's kind of crazy. I know that you did say once that when we were really, really little, that I had a blue vein across my eyelid, and I still have it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, always look for that vein.
It was kind of right there, you know, before whatever.
Now, some people say they'd like paint one of their toenails or something so they can tell them apart, which baby, when they're real little, so they're not feeding the same one twice. And, you know, I don't know, it could happen, yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Ned, and his question was, because he has twins. Okay. So his question was, do you have any advice for parents who have twins, or maybe even grandparents who have twin granddaughters, grandsons, whatever?
Like I've got twin grandsons too. I would say the big thing is encourage them to be themselves. So if they're identical twins, you could tend to just say, okay, they're exactly the same. But encourage them to be who they are and their different strengths, whether it's sports or, you know, being artistic or athletic or musical or whatever. Just find what they like and go with that. Don't just pack them together and say, okay, here's what we're doing. Because so many times they're in a box. Because they're the twins. There used to be the girl at church, and she used to say, Wendy, Brenda, it doesn't matter who you are, you're both the same. You know, and just really bothered me that she said, it didn't matter, you know, well, you answer to Brenda and you'll answer to Wendy. No, they're different, let them be different. And try to spend some one-on-one time with each one.
That's good advice. Even
to the point of taking a photo together. You know, because a lot of times it's like, okay, get the twins over here. It's always mom and twins, getting that one-on-one, I think is, and I don't know if we did that enough. I don't think we did that
I don't think we did it enough, but I'll tell you that I remember one time in high school, I had a doctor's appointment in the middle of school, and so I got taken out of school, and that never happened, that it was just mom and me. And I remember that made my doctor's appointment late, or we made it longer. We went to the doctor's appointment, and then we went out to lunch, and then we went shopping.
Oh,
and I remember, I could never remember another time where we did something that just the two of us.
We went to a George Strait concert when you were in high school at the fair.
Yes, we did.
That was great.
Yes, we did.
We actually saw George Strait in person. Well, this is Texas. So.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah. I mean, there weren't that many times. So I mean, obviously there were some, but it would be. I would say that too. Make sure you spend quality time with each of them by themselves.
Right. Now, there's something else getting on to being Grace is that, and you guys that watch this all the time, Wendy's probably said this before, but Brenda was kind of a little more adventurous and a little braver twin. And Wendy was kind of the little shyer twin. But both of those personalities made Grace who Grace was. Grace was brave. Sometimes Grace cried. Sometimes...
Just like every kid.
Just like every kid. So it was a perfectly rounded baby.
Well, that's like the story. Remember when one of the first days on the set... Michael pulled you aside because we were crying and you were worried about us crying.
That was in circus. That was a circus one. When you were crying in the circus. That for some reason, I imagine them always being happy, which babies aren't always happy. They cry. You know, they cry in real life. They cry in the show. And that's what made Little House so real. Because it wasn't this perfect little baby that they just kept smiling, But it was a circus scene, and I knew the circus day was coming, and they had real elephants and clowns, and it was just Billy Barty was the little clown, and it was so exciting. And it was your first season? Yeah. Second season. Well, we're
still really little.
You're pretty real little. And I just imagined them being just really, happy and everything. Well, I think Brenda worked the morning. I don't know what scene that was. And so then Wendy got the afternoon scene, which was actually being at the circus. And I was just like, I could just see their little faces on the screen, smiling.
Holding the cute balloon.
Holding the balloon and laughing at the clowns. Well, Wendy, she was scared to death. She was sitting in the front row.
By myself, too. On that little hay bale. Mom wasn't with me.
No, and she was crying and crying. I'm going, oh, no, you're going to ruin the whole show, And then Ma had to go pick her up and bring her to the back and was taking her apron, and drying her tears, real tears. And I was just, and I think I might have told Michael, I'm so sorry that she was crying. He says, he goes, you don't know who Baby Grace is. I don't know who Baby Grace is. Brenda and Wendy know who Baby Grace is. So let's let them figure it out. And so when people say about directing them, they were just being themselves. They were being their shy self. They were being their crying self. They were being their brave self. They were being their cute, funny self. Mm-hmm. And you saw all of that, and I think that's why people love Grace, because she's real. Mm-hmm. She's real, and there were no scripts.
So that brings us right to the next question that kind of leads in. But this was from Christy, Carrie, and Warren. You all kind of asked this question. How did you get us to laugh or cry on camera?
It was just natural. Whatever happened. Actually, this scene in There's No Place Like Home, Part 2, No Place Like Home. They're sitting on the porch, and everybody's talking. The Ingalls and the Garveys are all talking about, let's fix up the town. And the kids go, we can help. So Wendy was actually the baby sitting in the high chair, and it had been a long, hot afternoon waiting for this scene. She's sitting in the high chair, and she starts nodding off like this.
Well, before she starts nodding off, she's crying her head off.
Crying, and they're totally, ignoring her.
Yeah, they're all ignoring her.
We're talking about, let the baby cry.
But that's because Michael planned that, didn't he? He wanted us to be ready to sleep, don't you think?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think that was totally...
Oh,
no,
okay.
No, I don't think he planned.
Okay.
He planned for you to sleep. You can't plan for a baby to sleep.
Sure.
But her head starts nodding down like this, and Michael goes, oh, wait. So he motions to the camera, go there, close up on Wendy. So he's getting a close up on Wendy sleeping. Meanwhile, you have everybody else is saying, oh yeah, well we can paint the barn and we can do this, we do that. And then her head's like this. And then if you watch it carefully, she'll kind of wake up a little bit and then go back down again. So when she wakes up a little bit, Michael in the background had whistled. which of course they can edit out the whistle, but he whistled just a little bit, just enough to get her to like, oh, down again. So that wasn't planned. The circus crying wasn't planned.
Mom, tell us about the story when I was in the bedroom with Michael Lannon.
Okay. Well, okay, you guys know Michael Lannon. He was actor, he was director, he wrote several of these.
Tons.
Several scripts he wrote. And so he was like, everybody's like, yes, sir. Michael says jump. His whole cast and crew said how high. So he's telling Wendy, okay, here's what we're going to do.
How old am I now?
Well, you were talking.
3?
So probably 3.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 3. And there was this little saying that was going around that kids said, I'll tell you what it is in a minute. And so he's saying, well, here's what we're going to do. He's kind of explaining, we're going to sit here, and then we're going to walk over here, and we're going to do this. He never told them how to act, but he'd say, okay, you're going to hold Ma's hand, and you're going to walk here. I don't know what the instruction was, but she looked it up at him and said, no way, Jose. Everybody just roared.
Nobody says no to Michael Lannon.
Nobody says no to Michael Lannon, let alone no way, Jose. And it was just the biggest joke. It was all day. People were just, did you hear what she said to him? So that was...
I didn't know he was Michael Landon.
Yeah, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah, he was just... Well, another thing, too, about acting is that you guys were totally into the mood of what was going on. So if you'll ever notice the scenes I'm thinking about when Pa's upset with Toby No, because Toby No's eating all the food.
Yeah.
And the whole family's going, whoa. And everybody's kind of like, really, ooh, Dad's Dad. Pa's getting mad. And if you look at Grace will be like leaning in like, what's going on? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of worried because these people are usually nice and everybody's like mad at each other, So you really believed what was going on.
That reminds me also of Olsen versus Olsen.
Yeah.
Remember when they're all in the restaurant and they're bored?
Oh, yeah.
And they're sitting there and everyone's like, oh. And Grace is like this.
Like that, yeah. At the
like,
table.
you can't tell Grace to do that.
No,
she's just like, everyone's bored, so I guess I'm going to be bored too.
Right, yeah. Or if they're all laughing at a joke, Grace will look around and just... But I think my favorite one that was totally not planned is Pa says, okay, who wants to say Grace? Oh. And Grace goes, Baby Grace.
I know that name.
I know that name, Baby Grace.
So that wasn't a line.
Wasn't in the script.
Wasn't in the script.
You didn't have any lines in the script.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
You were too little. So if you happened to say something, you said it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
they worked
let's
with
see.
you. Okay.
The next question was from Jessica, and it was, what was it like watching your kids make money?
Everybody asked me this, like we made millions and millions of dollars, which we didn't. First of all, you have to realize this was in the 70s, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the Hollywood TV business is not like it is now. Now, everybody makes sure that they get paid, and that for every repeat they're getting paid, and every time something shows, it's getting paid. Back then, there was no thought of a DVD series. There was like a repeat the second. So for a year, they do, I don't know how many shows.
26 or so. In the
26
between
shows.
23 and 26.
So they do a set of shows, and then they would do the reruns. And usually that was the end of it. You'd never see those shows again. There was no syndication. Mm-hmm. And so there wasn't a lot of money. So until...
and when we were little, we weren't on contract.
You weren't on contract.
What were we like?
Because...
We were just an extra.
Yeah.
We got paid extra
pay until you started talking. When they started talking, then they automatically got the Screen Actors Guild and started making a little bit more. But they just made, when they were babies, they made the same as the extra kid in the school, extra person sitting in church just doing nothing. Actually, on the call sheet, they would say we need like a cow, 3 horses, 5 chickens, and Baby Grace. Oh, and Bandit, So you were kind of down. But
that's
when
okay.
People say money, we would have done it for nothing. I mean, it was such an honor just doing the show back then, and now seeing how it's become a worldwide favorite thing that has inspired so many people. Mm-hmm. I gotta tell the story. when we had an exchange student from Japan. We had a girl, and she had a boyfriend that was traveling with this 3-week exchange group. They'd actually live in somebody's home for 3 weeks and be a part of their family to learn about American life. Well, this girl's boyfriend was so excited to meet them because he said that when he grew up, he wanted to be the kind of dad and the kind of husband that Charles Ingalls was. Mm-hmm. And in Japan, that's unheard of. The man wore the pants in the family. The man didn't listen to anybody. The children weren't allowed to go to bed until the dad went to bed. They had to be at his beck and call. And they were all about work, and they were very stern. And this young man saw, I don't want to be like that. I want to be like Charles Ingalls. So that just...
And did you know that Little House on the Prairie is back on in Japan, and it's big in Japan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
okay, I got another one.
Okay.
This question was from Patty, and it was, do you have a behind-the-scenes story on the set?
On the set, behind the scenes. Okay, well, let's see. We got a couple on the set, and then I got one out on location, too.
Perfect.
On the set, when we would be there for, it started out 2 and 2, so it started out 4 hours a day, and then they got a little older, and we got 6 hours a day. And then when the end, they would each work 4 hours a day, so we were there for 8 hours a day. But they're not filming those whole 8 hours. It's just hanging around, hurry up and wait kind of thing. And but when they were filming, especially on the set, a loud buzzer would ring, and a red light would go on. There's several of these red lights all over the set, and that meant don't you dare make a sound because we're filming. And if you make a sound and we have to retake this, we're not going to be happy with you. So the girls had a dressing room with their name on it. It felt like big stars. It had a crib and a little couch and a little setting area. It wasn't extreme, not even as big as a bedroom, maybe half the size of a bedroom, small bedroom. And we had this friend, Maybelle, and she was our babysitter, and I knew her from a twins club. So she had older twins that were grown up already, and she was our babysitter. So she had all.
She just came to the set to help my mom because somebody had to be with each of us. If one of us was in the dressing room, there had to be somebody with us, and if one of us was on set, someone had to be with them. So that she needed help.
And sometimes I'd let Mabel take you out, and she got to watch, which was huge thing for her. Mm-hmm. So between her and I, she had all these ideas to keep the kids quiet. She had brought cotton balls, and so she'd blow the cotton balls and try to roll the cotton balls, be really quiet, blowing the cotton balls, and she would rub lotion on your arms, and she'd comb their hair, anything to keep them quiet, and that's pretty hard.
Just for that amount of time that the red light was on?
Just when the red light was on, yeah. And another thing that I thought, when they got the set, I went, when they got the job, I thought, it's going to be so great. They're going to get to wear all these cute clothes, little prairie dresses and all that. And so every time before they worked, the wardrobe lady would hang their wardrobe for the day.
In our dressing room?
In the dressing room, yeah. The hat, the stockings, the boots, whatever it was. And so for the first 2 years, they wore a knit bonnet, like a knit cap, tight cap, and a nightgown looked like it was made out of muslin or,
flour sack,
beige flour sack. I think you had booties too.
So that like yarn booties.
Yeah. So that was the outfit for quite a while, and then they graduated into the famous brown pinafore with the kind of faded green dress under it, and the brown bonnet, the long stockings. And they hated having a bonnet tied because they had to tie it under their chin in a big bow over here. So that was a challenge getting. But the outfit never changed for the whole time. That's all they wore for 4 years, 2 outfits. And then when they outgrew the pinafore, and I thought, good, they're going to get new clothes. No, they got the same thing in a bigger size. Now Carrie got to graduate into Laura's red dress. Mm-hmm, but you never got big enough to graduate into anything.
Yeah. Okay. I have another question.
Wait. Out on location.
Okay, go ahead.
So we were out on location, Simi Valley. It's hot. It's dry, dusty. There's a few trees, and that's where you see where the little house is and all that. Well, try potty training two little girls out there in the middle of nowhere, where the outhouse is like half a mile away. Or if you got to go, and little girl, you got to go. I got to go potty. Okay,
right now.
So I would travel with my potty chair for them. And I'd set it out behind a big oak tree. So that was their private little potty where they would, and then they would have to pull down all, because they had on the pinafore, and then they had bloomers underneath. And so you'd have to go under the dress, find the bloomers, get the bloomers down in time. But that was fun. Sorry, did I embarrass you?
No, I don't care. I was just going to say that somebody just asked a question, do you still have those dresses?
No, we never had those.
We didn't
dresses.
Get any of those kind of things. We got some stockings. That was it.
I nabbed a couple. Don't tell. I nabbed a pair of the little stockings. Yeah.
Would they really use them again on somebody else?
No, but I think you donated them to the museum. I think the museum.
When I was 5, I donated them, or you donated them?
No, I did. I think the museum has the stockings.
They do.
And a couple of your blocks that you played with.
Yes, they do.
On set. There's a few blocks you played with on set.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, before I go on, I just want to thank you. I know that a lot of times I mention thank you for everyone that's watching, and there's over 30 people watching. I can't really say all those names. So thank you guys for watching.
If Grandma Bonnie's watching, hi Grandma.
Hi, Grandma. Okay, next question is, what was it? Oh, this is Diane. She asked this question. What was it like for you to watch Grace kissing the little boy? How did you convince Grace to do it?
Oh, wow. Well, the little boy was a little older than Grace. And so they were kind of telling the little boy what to do. Okay, you know how to kiss her and do this. And the little boy was like, I don't want to do anything like that. He was not very cooperative. And so when they finally rolled the camera, it's like, okay, kiss. It wasn't Wendy, it was Brenda, the brave adventurers wanted that 3-year-old. So Brenda, if you watch that scene in He Loves Me, Loves Me Not, is that what it said? Yeah. And you'll see Brenda, she grabs the little guy's shirt and drags him in and kisses him, which is so funny.
So what was it like watching Grace kiss the little boy?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was darling. I thought it was great. I mean, I wasn't worried that she was kissing too early. And then, interesting enough, Brenda's the one who met her boyfriend and future husband when she was 14. So he's the only one that she ever kissed. Very much
besides that little boy.
very much like Laura and Almanzo. They had that kind of a relationship.
So did you have to convince Grace to do it?
No.
Brenda? It was Brenda?
No.
You just said kiss her. Kiss him.
Well, she did what Michael said. I mean, she really did. She did what anybody said, because it got back to that, okay, you listen to adults. What adults say, you do, And
kiss the boy. Okay, I'll kiss him.
Yeah. That's funny.
Okay, so this next question is from Gina, and she asked, what was the most trouble Wendy ever got into as a child?
Oh, child.
Or growing up, maybe.
Well, growing up. Oh, I can think of one. Well, usually Brenda and Wendy were together in their escapades. So they did get in trouble because they had some social issues in junior high where they were not very nice to somebody. And
that was not junior high. That was 5th grade.
Oh, 5th grade, yes.
Because there's a story about it in my book.
Yes,
so.
it's in her book, but can you imagine that Wendy was actually a Nelly at one point in her life? Kind of. Or you followed the group.
We all have our moments.
You followed the group.
But
we're not going to talk about that one because that one's not funny. The funny one is that Brenda and Wendy went to Disneyland with the church group. And we lived about 200 miles north of Disneyland, so it was quite a trip to go there. So I said, well, you guys can go, but I don't want you driving with the teenagers, because some of the teenagers were driving, and then there were some parents, chaperones who were driving. So I said, you can go. And I don't even think you were 16. Anyway, you might have been 15.
I think we were 16, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
But I didn't want him driving, with a teenager. So the thing is, you could go, but you have to go with Mrs. Atherstone. And
Sally, if you're watching right now, I'm so sorry.
So they they go down there, and then in the course of Disneyland, Mrs. Atherstone was ready to come home, and so she found her kids were supposed to be in her car, and somehow Wendy and Brenda said, "Oh no, we're going to stay later, and we have a seat in this car." So she said, "Oh, well, okay, yeah, okay, that's fine." Well, it was against the rules. I mean, I already said the only way you can go is if you ride with her. So Sally comes home and calls me and says, "Oh, I just want to tell you that Wendy and Brenda are riding home with the kids, whoever it was."
The boyfriend.
Who was a senior? It's a boy. Who's a senior? Were the boyfriends? Oh, I don't know. But they were supposed to do that. So I went,
we didn't even ride together. Brenda was with her boyfriend, and I was with mine, driving separately all night. We didn't leave Disneyland until like midnight.
I know.
We didn't get home until like 5 in the morning.
So yeah. So
it's like the worst thing I ever did, guys.
So I found that out, and so their punishment. I didn't believe in grounding people. You just go sit in your room for 3 days. That's not a punishment. I mean, it is, but so I would just make them do jobs. So that time it was great because they had to wash the windows in the house. All the windows, inside and out. The whole house. One of them outside, one of them inside. So
perfect job for twins, right?
It was perfect job for twins, yeah. But you guys were good. You didn't give me much trouble.
Okay, I have one last question because this has been quite a long interview, and I know some of you, although we're getting more people that are jumping on right now. Okay. So this is our last question, okay?
Yes.
What is your favorite episode and why?
Oh, this is so easy. Dance With Me, the story of Toby No and Amanda Cooper. They had a late life love for each other, and she was an old spinster that had been hurt, had her heart broken, and so she grew up with her cat, and that's the only thing she trusted in the world was that cat. And so when Toby No, who was, this is why I love it, played by Ray Bolger, who played the Scarecrow on Wizard of Oz. And as I was growing up, we looked forward. The Wizard of Oz was on TV one time a year, and we got to watch Wizard of Oz, and it's the only time we got to have, popcorn in the living room. That's what a big deal Wizard of Oz was. And so when I heard Ray Bolger was going to be there, it was like, oh,
I'm gonna go turn your phone off.
Turn my phone off. Okay. When I heard that Ray Bolger and that Wendy was going to get to have, I mean, even him being there, and then Wendy got the scene with him was just amazing. And I do love that the story of that show of the there's always a chance for love. And for myself, my husband Lannon died after we were married for 24 years. And he was the wonderful stepdad that you hear Wendy bragging about all the time. Well-deserved. And he passed away, and I met a man at my church, and we've been married now for 11 years. So you never give up on love. And also Toby is the name of my grandson, Wendy's.
And you guys have all heard that that's my favorite episode too, which is so funny. And we were talking about this morning. I was like, I didn't realize that was your favorite episode. So
yes, I love that one.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys have had a blast. This was super fun.
This has been great. Yeah.
And we are having so much fun in Texas. I'm not even here once a year. So, I was here last summer. So we don't see each other very often, and so this is our fun week together.
So she gets to go skiing. We were raised on a lake. I mean, that was our favorite family memories on the lake. Yeah. Water skiing, houseboating, all that. And so
we get to come back to the lake, and my kids get to experience this place, and so it's really amazing. So we're gonna go head out to the lake and hang out. So
Wendy told me I couldn't wear my bathing suit for this interview.
Oh yeah, she had her bathing suit on. I said, Wendy, you should put a shirt on. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us today.
Great. And I hope to see all of you in Walnut Grove. Now you know what I look like, so you can look for me. Okay,
and you can ask her any question you want.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We love you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.